Welcome back to Tech TV. I'm here at 5G World and I'm with Mansoor. So Mansoor, what's brought you down here to 5G World today?
Well, it's a really exciting time to be here today because we're really pleased that the UK is now launching 5G. So we're one of the first countries in the world to do so. We've had one launch already. We're expecting another one next month and then another one after that. So it's just a fantastic buzz around 5G at the moment. It's great to see the UK leading in 5G.
That's great to hear. And what do you see as Ofcom's role in the next gen innovation?
Well, we're involved in so many things in next-gen innovation, and it's true that people think about spectrum as the main thing. So obviously, we are very focused on making sure the right spectrum is made available for operators, but not only for operators, for any other third parties who want to roll out networks. So we have a big focus on that. But we're also very clear that to build networks, you need fiber as well. And we're also pushing for full fiber rollouts in the residential space, but also opening up access to ducts and poles so that people can put in fiber for mobile backhaul as well to enable new networks. So we're working very closely also with the stakeholders and government on the rural areas as well, where we're also very keen that nobody's left behind in the 5G launch or any other type of launch, whether it's full fiber or fixed or mobile. So we intervene a lot more in the rural areas to make sure that the right investment goes into those areas. And at the moment we're planning to give 2 coverage obligations for the rural areas to make sure that the rural areas are not left behind. So we do a lot of community engagement around that. We also promote innovative ways of connecting the rural areas. We're engaged in the government trials. Also on road and rail, we have technical inputs into the trials that will be held later this year to improve connectivity on road and rail. And we also make sure that all of the innovation is secure and resilient through the work we do separately.
That's great to hear. And why is innovation so critical to achieve Ofcoms and government objectives for the next gen connectivity?
Yeah, as I just said, I mean, we really care about universality of service. So we want to make sure that everybody has access to great connectivity, whether it's fixed or mobile, anywhere in the UK. At the same time, we are very much focused on fairness for customers and citizens. Part of that is making sure that vulnerable customers are duly taken account of. A lot of that is about fair pricing, but also a lot of that is about who pays for the heavy investments in some areas that are not commercially viable. So as we try and reach a right balance between universality and fairness, innovation can offer ways to make sure there's a fairer outcome for access to those services by actually innovating new ways that can lower the cost of connecting people in the rural areas. For example, we talked about LEO satellites, we talked about new beamforming technologies that can actually increase the reach in rural areas without building new infrastructure. So that's why innovation can play a fundamental role.
That's great. And can you tell me a bit more about the challenges for regulation being driven by innovation?
Yeah, so everything's moving, which is exciting in a way, and it's great to see new players coming in. But for example, one of the things I talked about here today is that when we talk about 5G in the UK and what we're doing to enable it, yes, we are supporting the operators in their investments, and they are big investors, and that's great for the country and for citizens. However, we're also keen to stimulate new entrants and new players. And what we'd really like is to offer low-cost spectrum for local licenses, which is what we just discussed, so that anybody can have a choice of building your own network at a reasonable cost, or working with a third party that doesn't need to be an operator. It can be anybody you want, or working with the operators. So that choice is really important to me. So if we're successful in promoting that new ecosystem, what that means is we'll have maybe hundreds or thousands of service providers of 5G and other connectivity around the country. Today we have a handful of them, so that's a big change in the way we regulate, so we're looking actively at that. And I think fundamentally, both in security and resiliency, but also in the way that data is used, the new innovative technologies do raise questions of trust and transparency, and we're very keen to make sure that as part of our role, we make sure that these networks are built in a trustworthy way, and they're transparent to consumers and citizens around the UK. And we're working on ways of making sure that we can collect information and then report that information in a to the public in a way that they can understand, so that they're aware of what's being done in connectivity.
That's great. And to wrap things up, what's been your highlight at 5G World 2019 so far?
Apart from this interview? Well, I've just really enjoyed the speech there because, you know, I give a lot of speeches and you always have the most fun when you're really excited about what you're saying. And I usually am quite excited about what I'm saying, but today, just going through the content of what we said about what we're trying to revolutionize and in what way and what benefits it's going to have for people, in the UK and around the world. That was one of the most exciting moments I've had in many years. So I think just seeing the reaction of people who are actually getting it and investing and are likely to build on what we've just put forward as possibilities, it's a great feeling.